The invoice didn't match the deposit slip. I spotted it the second my brother Marcus slid the paperwork across the mahogany table at Dad's retirement dinner. Everyone else was laughing, clinking champagne glasses, celebrating 40 years of Dad running Henderson and Associates. The private dining room at Castellanos was packed with family, partners from the firm, old clients. Mom had tears in her eyes. My sister-in-law Rachel was recording everything on her phone, beaming at Marcus like he'd hung the moon. Marcus stood up, tapping his glass. "Before we get to dessert, Rachel and I have something special planned for Dad." Rachel set down her phone and pulled a leather portfolio from her bag. "We know how much the firm means to you, Jim, so we wanted to do something meaningful to honor your legacy." I watched Marcus take the portfolio, his hand on Rachel's shoulder. They'd been married 3 years. She'd started as the firm's office manager 2 years before that, worked her way into the family, into Marcus's life, into every Sunday dinner and holiday gathering. Mom loved her. Dad trusted her with the firm's finances. "Dad, Rachel and I are establishing the James Henderson Scholarship Fund. We're starting it with a $50,000 donation to sponsor law students from underserved communities." The room erupted. Mom clutched Dad's arm. My Aunt Karen was crying. Dad stood up, hugging Marcus, then Rachel. My 15-year-old nephew Tyler started the applause. Rachel handed Dad a folder. "Here's the paperwork for the fund. We've already made the first deposit. Everything's set up through the Community Foundation. I'm a forensic accountant. Have been for 8 years. Ever since I left the DA's office to start my own practice. I analyze financial documents for fraud cases, divorce proceedings, corporate disputes. I can read a balance sheet the way a radiologist reads an X-ray. I see patterns, inconsistencies, things that don't add up." Dad passed the folder down the table, showing everyone the scholarship fund documents. When it reached me, I flipped through, smiling, ready to see the foundation's letterhead, the deposit confirmation, the account details. The dates were wrong. The deposit slip showed a transaction dated 4 days ago. But the foundation's acknowledgement letter was dated 3 weeks ago. The account number on the deposit slip didn't match the format the Community Foundation uses. I've worked with them before on a case. Their account numbers have a specific prefix. This one didn't. I looked up. Rachel was watching me. Our eyes met for half a second before she looked away, laughing at something my uncle said. My stomach dropped. I flipped back to the first page. The scholarship fund documents looked official. The foundation's logo was there, the executive director's signature, everything. But the deposit slip, I've seen enough doctored financial documents to know the signs. The font was slightly off, the paper quality wasn't right, and those dates, those impossible, stupid dates that someone not trained in document analysis might miss. "Lenora, isn't it beautiful?" Mom called down the table. "Your brother is so generous." I closed the folder. "It's amazing." Marcus was standing again, arm around Rachel, thanking everyone for coming, for celebrating Dad, for being part of his journey. Rachel leaned into him, her eyes shining. She looked so happy, so proud. I couldn't breathe right. Tyler leaned over. "You okay, Aunt Nora?" "Fine, just hot in here." The waiter brought out Dad's cake. 70 candles because Dad thought it was funny. Everyone sang. I moved my mouth, made the sounds. Watched Rachel film it all while holding Marcus's hand. $50,000. That's what the deposit slip said. $50,000 from my brother's personal account to the James Henderson Scholarship Fund. Except I'd bet my license that $50,000 never left any account. I'd bet the scholarship fund didn't exist. I'd bet that if I called the Community Foundation tomorrow, they'd have no record of this donation, this fund, this anything. Rachel had worked in the firm's accounting department for 2 years before she became office manager. She had access to everything: account numbers, letterhead, client lists. She knew what documents looked like, how they should read. And she knew my brother had family money, inheritance from our grandmother, investments that had done well. She knew he'd want to do something big for Dad's retirement. I watched her laugh at my uncle's joke, pour more wine for my aunt, compliment Mom's dress. Everyone loved her. She volunteered at the animal shelter every weekend. She brought homemade cookies to the firm every Monday. She never forgot a birthday, an anniversary, a graduation. And she was stealing from my brother. The dessert came. I don't remember what it tasted like. Mom kept talking about the scholarship fund, about how many students it would help, about how Marcus and Rachel were the kind of young people who gave her hope. Dad had the folder open again, showing it to his old partner Gerald, pointing at the numbers. Rachel excused herself to the restroom. I waited 30 seconds, then followed. She was at the sink, touching up her lipstick. Our eyes met in the mirror. "Great party," I said. "Your mom outdid herself." Rachel capped the lipstick, dropped it in her purse. "That toast you gave earlier was beautiful." "Rachel." I kept my voice low. "The dates don't match." Her hand froze on her purse zipper. "What?" "The deposit slip is dated 4 days ago. The acknowledgement letter is dated 3 weeks ago. That's impossible." She turned around slowly. We were alone in the bathroom, the party noise muffled through the door. "I don't know what you mean." "Yes, you do." I stepped closer. "The account number format is wrong too. I've worked with the Community Foundation. That's not how their numbers look." Rachel's face didn't change. She just looked at me, her expression pleasant, friendly, the same way she'd looked at me 1,000 times before. "You're mistaken." "I'm really not. I'm a forensic accountant, Rachel. This is what I do. I find financial fraud, and that paperwork is fraudulent." The pleasant expression cracked. Just for a second, I saw something else underneath, something cold. Then she smiled. "Lenora, I think the champagne went to your head. Those documents are legitimate. Marcus and I set everything up properly. Then you won't mind if I call the Community Foundation tomorrow to confirm?" "Of course not. Call them. They'll verify everything." She picked up her purse. "But maybe don't mention this to Marcus tonight. It's your dad's special night. Let's not create drama over a misunderstanding." She walked past me, leaving a trail of her perfume. Something expensive, something Marcus probably bought her. I stood there, my reflection staring back at me. The fluorescent lights made me look tired, older. I could hear the party through the door. Someone was giving another toast. More laughter. If I was wrong, I'd destroy everything. Rachel would never forgive me. Marcus would be furious. Mom would be devastated. Dad's retirement dinner would be remembered for my accusation instead of his accomplishments. If I was right, my brother was married to a thief, a con artist, someone who'd faked charity documents to steal $50,000. Someone who'd stood in front of our entire family and lied with perfect confidence. I pulled out my phone, took pictures of every page in that folder before anyone could stop me. The deposit slip, the account details, the acknowledgement letter, all of it. Then I went back to the party. Marcus was cutting the cake, feeding a piece to Rachel. Everyone was taking pictures. My phone buzzed with texts from college friends congratulating Dad. The room was warm, full of love, full of family. I sat down next to my dad. "You okay, sweetheart?" He squeezed my hand. "You look pale." "I'm good, Dad. Just emotional. Big day." He kissed my forehead. "I'm so proud of all my kids. Marcus with his scholarship fund, you with your business, Tyler with his grades. I'm a lucky man." My throat felt tight. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my phone on my chest. I could call the Community Foundation first thing in the morning. 8 hours. I just had to wait 8 hours. But what then? If the fund was fake, I'd have to tell Marcus, my brother, who looked at Rachel like she was everything, who'd been so happy tonight, so proud to honor our father, so convinced he was doing something good. I'd have to tell him his wife was a fraud. I'd have to tell him in front of everyone, or privately, and watch his world end either way. I'd have to be the person who destroyed his marriage, who humiliated him, who proved he'd been fooled. Marcus, who'd always been the golden child, the successful one, the son who made Mom and Dad proudest. I'd have to be the one to show him he'd been played. Or I could say nothing. I could let the $50,000 go. Marcus could afford it. He'd never know. Rachel would get away with it, and everyone would be happy. Dad would have his scholarship fund story, even if it was a lie. Marcus would stay married to someone who loved him, or at least pretended to well enough that it didn't matter. Mom would keep her beloved daughter-in-law. And I'd know. I'd know every Sunday dinner, every holiday, every family gathering. I'd watch Rachel smile and laugh and be perfect while knowing what she really was. I got up at 6, made coffee, sat at my kitchen table with my laptop and the photos from my phone. The Community Foundation's website listed their office hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It was Sunday. I had to wait another day. I called Marcus instead. Hey. His voice was rough with sleep. You okay? It's early. Can you meet me for coffee? Before work tomorrow? Sure. What's up? I need to talk to you about something. About last night. Silence. Then, Rachel said, You seemed weird about the scholarship fund stuff. Of course she did. She was already getting ahead of it, already framing the narrative. I just have some questions. As an accountant, I want to make sure everything's set up right for tax purposes. Okay. He sounded relieved. Yeah, let's meet. 7:30 at the grind? Perfect. I hung up and immediately doubted everything. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation for the date discrepancy. Maybe the community foundation had issued the letter early and the deposit took longer to process. Maybe I was seeing fraud where there was just human error. I pulled up the photos again, zoomed in on the deposit slip. The font was wrong. I was sure of it. The numbers looked like they'd been typed, not generated by a bank system. And that account number, I'd worked on 3 cases involving the community foundation. I knew their format. This wasn't it. Monday morning, the grind was crowded with the usual pre-work rush. Marcus was already there, 2 coffees on the table. He looked good, happy. He'd probably woken up next to his wife, kissed her goodbye, driven here thinking we'd have a quick chat about tax forms. So, what's the issue? He pushed my coffee toward me. Rachel's worried you think we messed something up. Did you handle the setup yourself? Or did Rachel do most of it? Rachel coordinated with the foundation. She's better at that stuff, and I've been slammed with the Hendricks case. Why? I pulled out my phone, opened the photos. These dates don't match, Marcus. He squinted at the screen. What dates? The deposit slip says the transaction happened 4 days ago, but the acknowledgement letter from the foundation is dated 3 weeks ago. That's impossible. Maybe they issued the letter when we first contacted them, and the actual transfer took a while to process? Banks don't work that way. And look at this account number. I zoomed in. The Community Foundation uses a different format. I've worked with them before. Marcus took my phone, studying the image. I watched his face, looking for the moment it would click, the moment he'd see what I saw. You think there's a mistake in the paperwork? I think it's fake. The words hung there. The coffee shop noise went on around us, espresso machines hissing, people ordering, someone's phone ringing, but our table went silent. Fake. Marcus's voice was flat. The deposit slip looks doctored. The account number is wrong. The dates are impossible. I think Rachel faked these documents. He set down my phone carefully. You're saying my wife is lying about a charity donation. I'm saying I think she faked the scholarship fund paperwork. I think she took your $50,000, made it look like it went to charity, and kept it. That's insane. I know how it sounds. But Marcus, I do this for a living. I find financial fraud, and this is fraud. He stood up. You need to stop. Marcus. No. His voice was sharp now, angry. You're calling my wife a thief based on what? A date discrepancy? An account number you think looks wrong? Do you hear yourself? I'm trying to help you. You're trying to ruin Dad's retirement dinner. You're trying to create drama because you can't stand to see me happy. He grabbed his coffee. Rachel was right. She said you'd do something like this. She said what? She told me last night that you seem jealous. That you've been weird about our marriage since the beginning. That you never liked her. My chest felt tight. That's not true. Isn't it? You've never warmed up to her. You're always watching her, analyzing her. And now you're accusing her of fraud because you don't like that I love someone more than I love my judgmental baby sister. He walked out. I sat there, my coffee going cold, my phone screen going dark. Around me, people were laughing, chatting, living their Monday morning lives. No one noticed me falling apart. I went to my office, tried to work. At 9 o'clock sharp, I called the Community Foundation. Henderson Foundation. How may I help you? Hi, I'm calling to verify a scholarship fund. The James Henderson Scholarship Fund, established by Marcus Henderson and Rachel Henderson. Typing sounds. 1 moment, please. I held my breath. I'm not showing any fund by that name in our system. When was it established? Recently. Within the past month. More typing. I don't have anything under Henderson at all. Are you sure it was set up through us? Can you check the account number? I read it off from my photo. That's not one of ours. Our account numbers start with CF, then 6 digits. This one doesn't match that format. My hands were shaking. Thank you. I hung up and immediately called Marcus. Voicemail. I tried again. Voicemail. I sent a text. I called the foundation. They have no record of the fund. We need to talk. No response. I called Dad's office. Henderson and Associates. How may I direct your call? Is Rachel Henderson available? Rachel's out sick today. Can someone else help you? Out sick. Or out of town. Or packing. I drove to Marcus's house. His car was in the driveway, but Rachel's wasn't. I rang the doorbell. Knocked. Nothing. I called Marcus again. This time he picked up. What? His voice was ice. Did you check your bank account? Lenora, I swear to God. Check your account, Marcus. Right now. I heard him breathing. Heard him moving. The sound of a keyboard clicking. Then silence. Marcus? The 50,000 is gone. His voice was different now. Smaller. It transferred 4 days ago, just like the deposit slip said. But it didn't go to the community foundation. Where did it go? An account I don't recognize. Rachel's name is on it, but I've never seen it before. She's not at work today. Is she home? No. He was crying now. I could hear it. She left early this morning. Said she had a doctor's appointment. She's not answering her phone. I closed my eyes. I'm so sorry. You were right. He was sobbing now, trying to hold it together and failing. You were right, and I called you jealous. I told you to stop. I'm coming over. He was sitting on his front steps when I got there. My big brother, the successful attorney, the golden child, crying into his hands. I sat down next to him. Didn't say anything. Just sat there while he fell apart. How did you know? He finally asked. The dates didn't match. The account number was wrong. It was sloppy work, honestly. She must have counted on no one looking closely. I didn't look at all. I just trusted her. He wiped his face. Everyone trusted her. I know. Mom loves her. Dad gave her access to firm accounts. She was family. I know. He looked at me. What do I do? You call the police. You file a fraud report. You freeze your accounts. Check everything she had access to. You tell Dad to audit the firm's finances immediately. The firm. He stood up fast. Oh God, the firm. She's been the office manager for a year. She has access to everything. He called Dad. I listened to him explain, his voice breaking, apologizing over and over. Then he called the police. The investigation took 3 months. Rachel had stolen from Marcus, from the firm, from 2 elderly clients she'd befriended. Total amount: $230,000. She'd used the scholarship fund con before, in another city, with another husband. Her real name wasn't even Rachel Henderson. It was Rebecca Lawson, and she had warrants in 2 states. They found her in Mexico, brought her back. She pleaded guilty to avoid trial. Marcus divorced her. Dad had to tell clients what happened, had to assure them the firm would make them whole. The partners voted to remove Dad's name from the firm. Not because he'd done anything wrong, but because the scandal was too big, too embarrassing. Henderson and Associates became Mitchell, Green, and Sharp. Dad's retirement, his legacy, the 40 years he'd built it all got tainted by Rachel's lies. Mom stopped speaking to me for 2 months. She'd loved Rachel, trusted her, welcomed her into the family, and I was the one who'd exposed her, who'd ruined everything. Never mind that I'd saved them from worse theft, from more lies. I was the messenger, and messengers get shot. Marcus and I don't talk like we used to. We're cordial at family gatherings, friendly in a careful way. But something broke between us that day at the coffee shop, something I don't think we'll get back. He can't look at me without remembering that I was right, that he was fooled, that his baby sister had to save him. Tyler asks me about it sometimes. He's 17 now, old enough to understand complexity, to see that good people can do necessary things that still cause harm. You did the right thing, he told me last Thanksgiving. I know. Then why do you look so sad? I didn't have an answer for him. The truth is, I paid the highest price I could imagine for doing the right thing. I paid it in my mother's silence, in my brother's distance, in my father's diminished legacy. I paid it in the way family gatherings feel, now careful, surface level, missing the warmth we used to have. Rachel is in prison. The stolen money was recovered. Justice was served. But my family is broken. I think about that night at Castellano's sometimes. The champagne, the cake, the applause. Everyone so happy, so proud. I think about what would have happened if I'd just smiled, closed that folder, let it go. Maybe Marcus would still be married to a woman who was stealing from him, but he'd be happy. Maybe Dad's firm would still carry his name, even if it was built on lies. Maybe Mom would still call me every Sunday, instead of every other Tuesday, our conversations brief and polite. Maybe I'd be part of the family instead of the person who saved it by destroying it. I keep the scholarship fund paperwork in my office. The fake documents, the fraudulent deposit slip, all of it. I've framed the deposit slip and hung it on my wall, right next to my forensic accounting certifications. A reminder that truth has a price. And sometimes the people who tell the truth are the ones who pay it.